Well, welcome to West Country Wanderings. Today we're in the village of Batheaston, just outside the city of Bath. We're going to make our way up to Solsbury Hill. So why not join me on a walk here in Batheaston in Bath and North East Somerset district. So I'm just on an avoiding path at the moment. Yeah, we've just left the village of Batheaston. And the ascent to Solsbury Hill, I'll put in the stats as usual, the height, etc. Goes up a very narrow country lane, except tractors, why tractors use it? So there's a risk of getting squashed against a Cotswold stone wall if you go that way. So I've just come up this muddy track and we're going to cut across the lane onto the main footpath to make our ascent proper up to Solsbury Hill. Now, when I was driving down here, first a few things. If you do want to come and do Solsbury Hill for yourself, just to let you know, parking is extremely difficult. You won't get any parking anywhere near the area at all. So I've actually parked in Batheaston and walked up. But parking is a premium because the lane is single track and the only bits that are not the road are passing places, and obviously you don't want to do those, or gates to fields, and you obviously don't want to block those as well. So it's best to park in it's a bit steep this Batheaston and walk up. Anyway, I'll see you in a bit. So why are we climbing Solsbury Hill today? Well, first of all, I wanted to shake away the winter blues. I haven't done much this isn't a long distance walk, but a walk I can really get my teeth into. I haven't done that for a bit, so I wanted to do that. That was the first thing. Of course, you've got these miserable days, and today I'm not going to see much sun, I'm afraid. But when I was driving over here, coming down the A46, the wiper blades were going, and I was getting, oh no, I'm going to have to abandon this trip. Just as I got to Batheaston, the rain stopped, so hopefully it's going to hold off, because obviously that makes filming really tricky, not least of which you can't see any of the views aside from the technical problems of filming in the rain, which I won't bore you with. But the reason we've come here isn't just for a walk, it's to tell you about the history of a song. Now, just a word of warning, I'm going to have to record two versions of this video for copyright reasons. I thought the video isn't going to make much sense without the song. You need to hear the song. My channel isn't currently monetized, and it may not ever be monetized, but if it was, you can't actually upload copyrighted music, but I'll probably get away with it because my channel isn't monetized. So I'll do two versions. I'm going to upload the version which does include the music, so the kind of walk here does make sense, so I can tell you the story behind the lyrics and the song, more of which in a bit. Hope you can join me on here. It's dry at the moment. It's actually quite warm. I didn't know what to bring with. I've got my wet weather gear, I've got my warm gear, I've got my woolly hat, gloves, but at the moment I'm actually quite warm after coming up that walk from Batheaston there. But it's fine. So see you in a bit. We're actually about 2 miles to the east of where I finished the Cotswold Way, and it's just over the other side there. We can actually see just the edges of the city of Bath. We're not going into Bath today. This is a country walk, bit of a trail we've got. So we're on a side track road now. We've come off the main, I think it's called Swainswick Lane. So we've come off that, making our ascent. I think I've mentioned this before. Now the song, which I'll tell you all about in a minute, I originally thought it was about Solsbury. When I heard the song, I hadn't actually seen the spelling, so I thought it was spelt as in the city in Wiltshire, which we talked about the other day. And for some reason I thought the song was about some far off hill in Africa, perhaps. I think it's a Solsbury in what was formerly known as Rhodesia. I thought it was something to do with that. I didn't realise it was just some 30 miles away from where I was living at the time, and where in fact I'm living now. I didn't realise it was so close. So I'll tell you more about that and how it came to be a song in a bit. I'll just give you a little bit more background to this song. I suppose the story kind of starts, well obviously starts with the the writers of the lyrics' birth. I think he was born in 1950. But it actually starts proper in 1969. And there were 3, possibly 4, I'm not sure, musicians from a very posh public school called Charterhouse. And one musician who most definitely wasn't from Charterhouse, who is a superb, multi-talented musician. And I speak of the group Genesis. Now, they were formed as a 5-piece back in 1969. And I just try and remember the name of you have Tony Banks on keyboards. You have Mike Rutherford, who was the main composer in those days, along with a certain Peter Gabriel, more of which in a bit. Steve Hackett on guitar, and of course one Philip Collins on drums. However, they were a very, very successful group, extremely successful, very famous for their shows, particularly their light displays, very extravagant theatrical showpieces. But it all changed around 1975 for reasons I'll explain. So I've made it to the summit. I'm just looking for a good place to do a piece to camera to tell you more about this song and also more about this hill, because it's got quite a bit of history aside from the song. It's also got quite a bit of nature, including skylights. In fact, I've just seen one whiz past there. It's too quick for me to snatch it on my camera, alas, but hopefully I'll set up my telephoto on a tripod and see what we can get later. So I'm boiling hot now. I've just come up here. It's about 10 degrees. I'm really hot, but I'm conscious I need to get my fleece and gloves on because it is a bit chilly up here, because obviously this is a very exposed, flat-topped hill. So I will just find a little bit. It's not too windy, so I can probably do a piece of camera in the open air. I've just seen just one other set of walkers just on the top of the hill here. Apart from that, there's no one else here, so which is great for walking. And what I'll do is, I say, after I've done the piece to camera, I'll do some still photography of the views before we make our ascent back. But this is quite. I've never been up here before, so this is a first for me, and it's quite something actually. I feel quite moved because I've loved this song for many years, and I know it's a favourite with lots of people. I know if you're perhaps a younger person, you may not be remotely interested, so I do apologise, but you might find it interesting anyway. But here we go. I'm just going to find somewhere over there and I'll tell you a bit more about it. Climbing up on Solsbury Hill, I could see the city light. Wind was blowing, time stood still, eagle flew out of the night. He was something to observe, came in close, I heard a voice, standing, stretching every nerve, had to listen, had no choice. I did not believe the information, I just had to trust my imagination, my heart going boom, boom, boom. Son, he said, grab your things, I've come to take you home.
On Solsbury Hill, I could see the city light. Wind was blowing, time stood still. Eagle flew out of the night. He was something to observe. Came in close, I heard a voice, standing, stretching every nerve. I had to listen, had no choice. I did not believe the information. Just After keeping silence, I resigned. My friends would think I was a nut, turning water into wine. Open doors would soon be shut. So I went from day to day. My life was in a rut, till I thought of what I'd say, which connection I should cut. I was feeling part of the scenery. I walked right out of the machinery. My heart going boom, boom, boom. Hey, he said, grab your things, I'm gonna take you home. Hey, back home. When illusions in a net, I'm never where I wanna be. And liberty she pirouette. When I think that I am free, watch my empty silhouette, who close their eyes but still can see. No one taught them etiquette. I will show another me. Today I don't need a replacement. I tell them what the smile on my face meant. My heart going boom, boom, boom. Hey, I said, you can keep my things, they come to take me home.
Now, we don't know the exact year that Peter Gabriel came up to Solsbury Hill and was inspired. Well, he must have had some kind of spiritual experience here, but that's the only way I can think about it. And he had a lot going through his mind when he did that. So it's probably around 1975, 1976, that kind of time. And he had got a lot going on. He had got married. His first marriage, he was married in 1971 to his first wife. I'll put in her name below. And he had a daughter in 1974. But his wife was pregnant again in 1975, and she was going through quite a difficult pregnancy. Added to which, he was constantly on tour with Genesis, and was of course not at home very much. So he was thinking, where does his loyalties lie? Do they lie with the group? Do they lie with his wife and family? And obviously, thinking these things through, he did live close by in the valley. I'll drop in the name of the valley. I think it's the one just down there at that time. He lives now about 3 miles the other side in the village of Box, just over in Wiltshire. He was obviously pondering that, so he came up here for a walk to have a think about it. And in the process of having that walk, had some kind of experience. You could just think of it about your own thought process going through, and that's the great thing about walking, isn't it? You get the thoughts going through, your mind's all a jumble, everything that's going on us. And he came up here, and not only did he then get some clarity about where he thought his priorities should lie, and they weren't with Genesis, as I'll explain, but he also had the inspiration to then write this fantastic song with the music, which I think is just absolutely wonderful. I remember hearing it, well, I was only 13, perhaps 13, when I heard it originally, and it spoke to me inside those lyrics. So they really meant something to me, as well as being a brilliant tune. And I didn't really understand the lyrics at the time, and I certainly didn't know it was this hill right here in Bath and North East Somerset area. But yeah, it's always meant a great deal to me. Now, the other aspect to the song is one of environmentalism, because Peter is a keen environmentalist as well as being a brilliant musician, and he also runs, or he instigated the WOMAD. I've forgotten what it stands for, but he's got his WOMAD studios just 3 miles down the road, and obviously that's to do with world music across the world, and also it's about bringing people together and mixing with cultures, but it's also got an environmental aspect to it. Now, this hill has been under threat, or rather the sides of it have been under threat for many years, and I think he was thinking about that. There were developments, a lot of developments going on around this area, as indeed there still are, and I think that was another aspect why he's talking about the eagles, the nature and everything else, as well as about his own personal life. There's a lot in this song, and there's a lot in the lyrics. You can actually analyse and read a heck of a lot into him, and you can actually almost hear what was going in his mind when he was up here on that day he came to visit Solsbury Hill and wrote those lyrics. He then went to the band members and said, "Guys, I quit." I'm not sure if that was exactly the way he used it, but more or less he left. And shortly after that, though, in 1976, towards the end of 1966 it was, he started recording his first album, eponymously titled Peter Gabriel, sometimes referred to as Peter Gabriel 1 or Car, because it's got a photo of him in a car on the front cover. And in 1977, that single from that album became a hit in the UK. I think it got to number 13 in the charts. And he then had a successful solo career in terms of albums, not a single person, but also in creativity and working with lots of other musicians. In fact, he did an anthology of some of his recordings and re-recorded and mixed them, and he came up here about 10 years ago to record some natural sounds on Solsbury Hill, which he then used on one of his later albums. I can't remember the title of the album, I'll insert that now, but yeah, it's just literally ambient sounds of the birds and the natural sounds that are around this wonderful here at Solsbury Hill. So aside from the song, there's a few other things to tell you about Solsbury Hill. In fact, it's a flat-topped hill, as you can see, and I'm going to do some more photographs and video footage so you can see that. And it's just on the outskirts of the village of Batheaston. And as I said, historically it would have been inside the county of Somerset. It's now under the district or authority, if you like, whichever term you want to use, of Baines, and I've mentioned that before. If you're not familiar with it, it stands for Bath and North East Somerset. It rises, so it's 620 foot high, it rises 625 feet, so it's part of the Cotswold range. So if I carried on walking in that direction, I'll probably at some point merge with the Cotswold Way, heading back north towards Chipping Camden. So Bath is about 3 miles to the west of me that way, and Bristol about another 11 miles further on that way. And you've got the valley here. Also, you've got the town of Bradford-on-Avon in Wiltshire, which is about 8 miles further south. In fact, the river Avon just runs in the valley below. That's why you have the hills either side here and the gouged out Avon Valley in the middle. So it's mainly limestone. There was a lot of quarrying that took place up here. In fact, in the 19th century, I'm just looking at a rock down there, and I'll do some video and photographs of that in a bit. I am struggling with the wind up here. There is a little bit of bit damp, so I am going to have to put my camera away for a bit. But just to finish off with, the other main thing about the hill is that it was an Iron Age hill fort. It was occupied between 300 and 100 BC. Obviously, as 100 is younger than 300. Obviously, because it runs backwards, you know what I mean, before it gets to AD. And it's enclosed by a single, it's called a univallate. That's UNIVALLATE. I'll put that in a rampant, which means it's a single circuit. So you've got a complete circuit that goes around the entirety of this hill here. The rampart was built, was 20 foot wide. And I can see some, I'm just looking out behind the camera here, and it was built, well, I'm actually standing on now, 12 foot high. I can see that from the drop there, down there. The other thing to just quickly tell you about is the wildlife that's up here. There are some rare species on the hill. Some of the flowers, obviously not now, we're in December, middle of December, we're not going to see any flowers. Bird's foot trefoil is one of the common ones. You also get harebells up here, and like I said, you do get skylarks. I've seen one. You also get buzzards. There's a family of buzzards. I think they're in the trees over here. We've got a wood and a copse, and I'll do a close-up of that shortly. And also you get roe deer, because I've seen some really high fences to stop them encroaching into people's gardens. Having a wander around the delightful village, hamlet, suburb, depends what you would call it. It's about 3 miles from Bath anyway, of Batheaston. And on the other side of the river Avon shall I say, is the hamlet of Batheaston. And the two Batheaston, where I am now, Batheaston, are linked by a toll bridge, which is £1 to cross it. It's actually quite convenient if you wanted to get into Somerset from where I live, rather than going into Bath. I think Bath's actually got a congestion charge, and I see all that traffic going across the toll bridge. Anyway, we're having a look here at the delightful meadows here at Batheaston. So currently in the grounds of this delightful little garden here at Batheaston, just got lots of seats, which is great. It's right next to the River Avon, but yeah, just shorted a few shots of here. So just having a wander around after my walk up Solsbury Hill. Really enjoyed that walk and gave me food for thought about those lyrics. I still think they're very, very pertinent and relevant to our times. It's all about, I think Peter Gabriel was interviewed and he said song's all about letting go as well, obviously, as I said, about what was going through his mind, and also conservatism and environmental awareness. That's it from West Country Wanderings for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider a like. Well, you know all the usual stuff, I'm not going to repeat it all again. Usual stuff. But yeah, we really appreciate a comment, perhaps if you could share it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, perhaps you learned something from the lyrics like I did. I didn't know all the lyrics, I must admit, so because I printed them out and I stick them up on the screen with the music as well. But hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care of yourselves. All the best. Cheers now. Goodbye.